Welcome to another episode of Angels, Positivity and Love, a show with guests from all over the world, all sorts of backgrounds. Oftentimes they're healers, psychics, although we've had attorneys, international best-selling authors, one White House physician to the US president, and so on. Just amazing folks who, when we get them on air, they're sharing not only their journey, a personal transformative experience. We've had a lot of near-death experiences. 5 is the record. Find Dr. Yvonne Quessan's episode, The Plane Crash in the Blizzard in Canada. Oh my God. You can use my website. Just find the APL show there on the tab, and you can see the master guest list from January of 2023 all the way to January of 2026. Yes, we're booked that far out. Today, coming back to us is Julie Ryan from Alabama. She's incredible. Medical intuitive psychic, author, show host, and much more. She has invented medical devices the first part of her life, business all the way. I'd still say she's super business oriented today. She's also no nonsense with a lot of joy in her. She can kind of size up your situation really quick and even taste it out of the thin air just as you're arriving at her doorstep. And she helps you sort things out so you can walk a smoother path in life. I'd like to welcome Julie back to the show. It's great to see you again. We got the chance to play before the show, and I'm very thankful for that.
Oh, it was fabulous. Always, always. You were blowing stage at me, and you're 8 hours, 9 hours from me. I could smell it. I could taste it. I could see it. It was wild.
Well, I'll do that right now, and I'll ask you a simple question to get us started. We might bring in some angels pretty quick. This is only going to be like a 45-minute show today, but we'll have angels give or remind you of some topics because you're a walking encyclopedia, not only of metaphysics, but like living life. And this is what makes you such a good advisor for other people to tap is in a lot of ways you've been there and done it personally. But if not that, you're really good at listening and helping the universe help that person and for them to help themselves. If you could just let me know when you catch some sage, but ask for some flowers and what are you getting on top of the sage?
Fear.
What type of
Discuss
fear?
fear. Discuss fear. Yeah.
Okay. Are you catching the sage okay?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like maybe I should be a turkey in the oven cooking for Thanksgiving dinner with all that sage that you've been blowing at me.
Oh, okay. What's our first topic?
Fear. How people are afraid
Hmm.
of everything. People are afraid to take action on anything. They're afraid to die. Oh, I can taste the sage now. It's still coming in. Blah, blah.
I
Taste
didn't
this
do it.
the sage smoke. Yeah. Uh so yeah, people are afraid. They're afraid to take action. They get guidance from angels and spirit guides and the universe all the time, source, God, whatever you want to call it, and then they rationalize why it's not going to work. It's like 2-year-olds, you ask a 2-year-old if they want a cookie and they say no, and then they're grabbing for the cookie. I think that's how a lot of us adults are as well.
Okay, I'll put up Joy for another reminder on some front and get two more sort of talking points or topics.
How to turn fear into joy.
Perfect.
Yeah, they're on fear today.
So, how do we turn fear into joy and walking a smoother path?
We look at it from a different perspective because we're all hardwired for fear with the fight or flight response. That's the human element. And we're all spirits attached to a body having a human experience. And not that we need to strive to be better to get to heaven. Everybody goes to heaven. Everybody goes to pure bliss when they transition from this life into the next. But it's a matter of walking the path, learning to walk the human path with joy, which helps us manifest what we want to manifest, number one. And number two, helps lead us on our path of what we came in to explore and experience.
And if I gave you the phrase focus on improvement, not on results, what would that mean to you? And how would you recommend people begin that shift and emphasis?
Enjoy the adventure because we all know once we have a goal and we reach that goal, what do? We immediately think of something else to do. And that's why we're all here is to create and to create a life of joy and to give love, in my opinion. So you think about it, we create all day, every day. and we create what we're going to wear, what we're going to eat, where we're going to go, how we're going to get there. Who are we going to call? We're creating all that stuff. And then we create as we go through our lives, and then we pass and we go to heaven. And what do we do once we get to heaven? We start creating our next life.
Mm.
So it's not about getting there. It's not about the goal. It's about enjoying the adventure along the way. Furthermore, I think most of us believe, oh my God, what if I make a mistake? Well, there aren't any mistakes. It's all part of the learning curve. It's all part of the experience. And you can't get it wrong because we just pivot and we do something else. And all of us have gone through times, I know you have, Michael, where we have something that we want to accomplish and we end up accomplishing it. So we reach the goal, but we get there through a circuitous path that we hadn't envisioned. And most of the time, if not all of the time, if we're really honest about it, we'll say, that wasn't very fun. The whole thing wasn't very fun. However, I wouldn't change a thing because here's how I benefited from it.
Well, I've got an angel named John for you. He's synchronicity, he marshals other angels to get stuff done. Maybe we can get a little reminder of how big it is going on kind of behind the scenes and how many tries it can take for us to slow our roll up here. I'll do one quick example. You go to a coffee shop, you were supposed to months ago meet that other person. The fork fell one time, but you didn't bother to turn and pick it up. That was the moment. It took 19 angels to get that thing sussed the right way. So she'd be there, you'd be there. And it's actually at the bookstore 2 months later. You run into each other, the books fall, it's your peanut butter and her chocolate and your peanut butter, and you're married happily ever after. But here's John, angel of synchronicity. Here's something about all that and trusting more, worrying less.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so
But,
what about all that? How's this work again?
well, I think the most important thing is we're led, we get guidance all day long, and then it's a matter of taking action because the old story, there's a flood and the people's house is flooded and they're on the roof and there's a rowboat coming to get them, and then there's a helicopter coming to get them. They say, no, we're waiting for God to rescue us. And then somebody else comes and they end up drowning and they get to heaven, and God, they say, God, why did you rescue us? And he's like, I sent you a boat and a helicopter and whatever, a hot air balloon to come get you. You got to take action.
Hmm.
And I think that's where a lot of us get tripped up because we're taught in our Western societies to overanalyze the daylights out of everything. Well, that hasn't been proven and whatever. Follow your gut. If it feels neutral or good, do it. If it feels bad, evaluate it. Is it going to kill you in the next 2 minutes? If it is, change the conditions because, it can hurt you or kill you. If it's not, it's a fake fear. Take action. And my 2 minute rule book is about all of that. Yeah, the 2 minute rule. And it's just what you do when you feel fear is you just ask, is this going to kill me in the next 2 minutes? And you get a yes or no answer. And you're going to laugh a lot of the time. You're going to say, oh, like for me, when that happens to me, Michael, and I'll hear, no, it's not going to kill you in the next 2 minutes. Then I'll laugh and I'll say to myself, oh God, Ryan, quit being such a drama queen. And then I move on and I take action. And then another thought comes in and you take action on that. And fear is going to come up. But the key with the 2 minute rule is you can use it a bazillion times a day. You can use it unlimited times. You can use it in any situation. And it keeps you out of fight or flight. Because when we're in fight or flight, our brain doesn't work right. We lose clarity. Actually, even on brain scans, it shows that those frontal lobes of the brain are shut down. It's like there isn't any energy in there because all your blood goes to your heart and your extremities so you can run away from whatever the perceived fear is. So 2 minute rule is so helpful on that.
Well, I'm going to quote another book, The Alchemist, Paulo Coelho. It's such a beautiful, parable, metaphor, story. Hopefully somebody makes it into a movie soon. Here's 2 or 3 quotes from it. The Alchemist had this quote, the actual alchemist later. I picture Sean Connery from The Lion in the Wind when I think of this guy. There's only one way to learn. It's through action. what you were just talking about. And so taking more action in life, not all the time. If you're doing too much action, too much doing, you'll get a reminder from the universe to like slow all the doing and just be. And then the
Yeah.
Englishman said to the kid or the young boy who's the focus of the story, I better pay more attention to the caravan. And then the kid turned around and said, and I'd better read your books. If you remember that, because they were chocolate and
Mhm.
peanut butter, literally, and
Right.
together they were Reese's peanut butter cups. Talk to us more about paying attention more, slowing your roll sometimes, and other times it's actually action, action, action.
Well, I think we are all getting guidance all day long, and every spirit has a frequency that they keep throughout all of their lifetimes, whether it's attached to a body or not. So you can use this technique to talk to a friend who lives on the other side of the world who's very much alive, or you can talk to a deceased loved one. You can talk to anybody. It doesn't mean that you have to have known them when they were alive. Who do you want to talk to? I always laugh and think you could talk to Elvis, you could talk to George Washington, you can talk to Mother Teresa, you can talk to Napoleon. It doesn't matter. You just think of them, and that tunes our satellite dish head to their frequency. And it opens up a two-way radio communication, kind of like a two-way radio thing. And then you just say something and they're going to answer you, and it's going to feel like a thought in your head. How you know that it's coming from spirit, whether it's attached to a body or not, again, is irrelevant, is it's that first thing that comes in as fast as you can snap your fingers, or sometimes even before, because time doesn't exist in the spirit world. Time's a human creation. So whoever you're talking to, they've got your thought sometimes before it's even done being thought out, and they're responding. And so that's how you can communicate and get guidance. But you've got to be on a high vibrational level. You got to tune your radar to the spirit channel. Because when you're feeling blue, or you're depressed, or you're angry, or you're in a mood that feels bad, you know what happens? Spirit doesn't communicate on the I feel crappy channels because the vibration's too low. And all those vibrations feel bad, which tells you that's our internal GPS system saying, okay, I'm having this negative feeling. And so, is it real or is it fake? That's when you use the 2 minute rule. It's going to kill me in the next 2 minutes. If Michael's blowing smoke in my face, no. Okay. So it tells you it's a fake fear, and you go back up to the factory preset spirit level. The other thing is to communicate. Oftentimes, it's easier for us to communicate in our dreams when we're asleep. So before you go to bed at night, to say, "Hey, I need some advice on this investment, or I need some advice on this job, or whatever," and then go to sleep. And spirit can download that information into your head sometimes more easily for a couple of reasons. Number one, our brains have rested a little bit when we go to sleep. And number two, when we sleep every night or during the day, if you're a night worker, when we sleep, our energy goes back to the preset frequency of spirit. So it's like we return to the factory preset frequency level. And it's easier for spirit to communicate with us. And so oftentimes when somebody's grieving or they're overly stressed, I'll say, ask for what you need before you go to sleep. And I bet you wake up, do it. If it doesn't happen that first time, keep doing it. Keep asking every night when you go to sleep. And eventually you're going to wake up and you're going to have the answers that you were looking for. And then play with that, and then play with the 2 minute rule. And what you're going to find is you're going to walk around and you're going to be more joyful because you're in a higher state of a frequency, and love and joy and happiness and all those goodies are all high vibe emotions.
And when people wake up first thing in the morning, before you've brushed your teeth, stretched, yawned, or even looked outside, if you can sneak over to your recessed pot lights, whether it be the kitchen, the bathroom, wherever, and look up, if you're wide open at that point, like you were just talking about, Julie, you'll see beach balls, giant rainbow light around the pot lights. And it's just extra seeing that you're seeing all the time, but your thinking filters it out. As soon as you start seeing it, you're going to be like, oh, that's really pretty. But then as your thinking kicks in, it starts to shrink. And then you're going to find your brain analyzing it. And that kills it more and more until finally it's gone. So a great exercise is just to see how long you can stay in that Satori, Samadhi, whatever you want to call it. I'll call it Disney CGI. I got Elvis for you. What's Elvis have for you? Get something private and say, got it. And
Yeah.
then what's he got for us all?
Lighten up. We're too serious. Have more fun.
And then speaking of which, she's got a sparkle and a great sense of
Yeah.
humor. What does Mother
Yeah.
Teresa have for you?
Again, thing. Everybody takes everything so seriously. And she's reminding us that all the work that she did when she was alive, she worked with the poorest and the sickest of the world. And yet they found joy every day. She said sometimes those were the most joyful people. I have a quick story about her. May I
Please,
share?
yeah, do it.
I was in Baltimore because I was given a talk. This was a business talk. It wasn't a woo woo talk because I'm a businesswoman who learned how to do woo woo. So I was in the basilica there and I went to mass. I had a meeting that was canceled and I thought, hey, I'm just going to, go to mass because I heard that was the first cathedral in America. So I crashed a funeral, Michael. I didn't know that there was a funeral being said at noon, but I went in and everybody was gracious. And I'm looking around, and this woman came up to me and she said, I work here. Are you visiting? I saw you looking around. And I said, oh, sorry, I was so obvious. And she said, yeah, would you like a tour? And I said, sure. So another story. But I got this tour. It's very historic. And I'm in the undercroft with this woman, and we're talking, and I'm seeing out of the corner of my eye, there's a pew at the back of this chapel that's in the bottom of this basilica. And John Carroll, who was the first bishop in America, and Mother Teresa's spirits are sitting on this bench while on this pew while this woman and I are talking to actually we were talking to her deceased son who had died by suicide. Something came up and I said, yeah, I'm a medium. I learned how to be a medium and a psychic. And she said, oh, I would love to do that. My son died by suicide a year ago. I said, well, he's here. You want to talk to him? So we did, and it gave her a lot of comfort. But after we were done talking to her son in spirit, I said, all right, Mother Teresa's spirit and John Carroll are sitting over there on this pew. And she said, go read the little placard on the pew. And it said, Mother Teresa sat here when she visited the basilica in whatever the year was. And so I thought that was pretty fun. And the chapel is, you got to go through this hallway where John Carroll is buried. And so his energy was all around because that's where his tomb is. And then went in there. One other quick story about that cathedral, if I may. The provenance on it is Ben Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and John Carroll were all buddies, and they played poker in the White House one night a week. And so Ben Franklin was the ambassador to France at the time, and he was friends with whoever the papal ambassador was in France. And he said, hey, I got this buddy, John Carroll. You need to tell the Pope he needs to make him a bishop because they didn't have any Catholic bishops yet. So lo and behold, the Pope, whoever it was, said to John Carroll, okay, you can be the bishop, build a cathedral, didn't give him a budget or anything. So they're playing poker, and Thomas Jefferson says, hey, we've got this guy, I forget his name, he's a real famous architect, who's going to be designing the Capitol, the US Capitol. Why don't you have him help you design the basilica? And so he did. So when you go to that basilica in Baltimore, it doesn't look Gothic like most Catholic cathedrals. It looks like the Capitol. It looks like a quarter. The Capitol has got a cupola on the top, like the round thing at the top and all of that. And so we were talking with all of them in the basement of the basilica when I was there, this woman that gave me a tour. So again, no coincidences in life. This woman came up to me out of the blue. Can I give you a tour? My meeting had been canceled. I was led to go to mass. I went to mass. The priest who said the mass invited me to join the family for lunch. but I did the tour instead. You could tell I was a guest. We're in the basement of the cathedral. All these amazing things happened that I got to witness, and I got to provide comfort to this woman who'd lost her son by suicide a year before. And she sent me an email later, and I hadn't written my book yet, so I gave her a copy once it came out, and she said, "You will never know how much comfort you provided to me. And for the first time since my son died, I can feel some joy." So, follow where you're led. It's always an adventure, and it can unfold in amazing ways that you never would have pictured. You couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine all that happening.
People can tune in 60 episodes back. It was episode 179, February 7th of 2025, where people can catch your origin story there at the Driscoll Hotel in Austin, Texas. You have another one of those
Right.
great stories. It was so much fun to hear it. I wanted to ask about the following. Talk to us about the present moment and the heart, and how everything's within, and that the present moment is, I don't know what to call it, the power, the opening, the allowing of
Yeah.
all. What is that all about?
I have a colleague named John Labman who's a therapist. You would love him. I'll introduce you to. And he says all future thoughts are a lie. And I said, "Oh my God, that's profound." And he said, "Think about it. What happens? We don't know what's going to happen in the next 3 seconds, let alone what's going to happen in the next, 2 hours or 5 days or year or whatever." And so he said, if you can keep that in mind, and you come back to the present moment, and then I'll take it a step further, Michael, into come back into how are you feeling in that moment? Because our emotion is an internal GPS system all humans possess, and it tells us whether we're thinking clearly or not. I have another colleague named San Ching, who's a Taoist priest, and I'll introduce you to him too. And he says that if you're thinking, you're not knowing. If you're knowing, you're feeling. And I agree. Feeling is the key. It's an internal GPS. So, does it feel neutral or good? Yep. You're on, everything's cool. Does it feel badly? Evaluate it. Is this going to kill me in the next 2 minutes? If you're standing in the middle of a highway and there's a truck headed towards you, you better get out of the highway, because yes, that could. The answer is no. Look at it from a different perspective, because thoughts create our reality. We control our thoughts. Thoughts don't originate in our heads. Thoughts all have a frequency. They come in based on what we're thinking about in the moment. You're wearing a beautiful Hawaiian shirt. I love navy and white together. It's classic. It's elegant. It's fun. It's fabulous. Looks great on you, but you'd look good in a paper bag. I mean, let's face it. You have movie star good looks to go with your fabulous personality. So somebody may look at you and go, "Why the heck is he wearing a navy and white Hawaiian shirt at this time of the year?" Right? Different perspective on the same thing. Well, when you hear, "What the heck is he wearing that shirt?" it feels bad. You're going to the negative. So if he's wearing that shirt, is that going to kill me in the next 2 minutes? No. You're going to laugh. And I always hear in my head, "Lighten up, Francis. You're a movie buff. What's that from?"
It'll come to me.
Yeah. It's so I laugh. I hear, "Lighten up, Francis." And what you're going to find is, if you pay attention to how it feels at the moment, change your perspective, it's going to lighten up right away. You know what Mother Teresa told us to do, don't be so serious about everything. We're supposed to be
Stripes.
having fun. Stripes.
Yep.
Okay. So, so it's all perspective. There's a movie called Lost Horizon that was out, I think, in the 80s, maybe in the
There's
70s.
4 or 5 remakes.
Okay, it's the one with Liv Ullmann and Peter O'Toole and
He was the original actor in the 1929 or 30 something version. Ron
okay,
Coleman.
okay. So Sir John Gielgud's in this adaptation, and Burt Bacharach did the music. And there's a song in there called "The World Is a Circle," and it talks about how, just because they say you're slow, it doesn't mean that you're slow, because even to somebody who always finishes last, they're sure to think you are fast. You know, Look at a twig to a branch. The twig feels small, but the twig really isn't small compared to, a little tiny leaf. So it's all perspective. And I think the lyrics from that song really put it into view where we can say, okay, well, yeah, that's a good point. I haven't thought about it like that.
I was watching that version just a little bit last summer. Okay, Huna. I'm going to just bring up a couple points from Huna because, in a way, everything we've talked about is Huna, or Huna is just love out of Hawaii, whether it's actually Huna or ascribed by the West to Huna. Huna is the way of the adventure in contrast to the warrior path, which only deals with good and evil. Huna does not require conquering evil with good. It's just based on aloha, which is both loving power and powerful love. Love is the only ethic of Huna. And here's 3 points of maybe 8 or so. The world is what you think it is. All systems are arbitrary. There are no limits. Separation, though, is a useful illusion.
Right.
Energy flows where attention does, where attention goes.
Right.
Everything has energy. And now is the moment of power. Everything is relative. So, what would be one mantra as a guru before we get you a lot of compliments from this angel and hear about your background? Because you are put together and you're about to get put, I'm going to have a spotlight put on you in just a second. If you're a guru in India, you've done this for 50 years, you have 15 ashrams and a big crowd coming through annually. What's your mantra of the moment that if people say it, they'll align better with the universe, get more attuned with the now? What's your mantra?
Have fun.
Oh, okay. Beautiful. Can you get a private compliment that you're like, ooh, wow, can't share this one out loud? And then can you get the one that you're sharing out loud that explains how you're so put together? Which lifetime or lifetimes did you bring in those strong character qualities that are no fuss, no muss, and just totally combat efficient when it comes to the heart, love, and the universe?
I've been a healer in many, many, many lifetimes. And I had a guy named Simon Bown on the show who regressed me. He hypnotized me, which I'd never had happen before. And we wanted to know, where did the healing interests begin? Because I'm an inventor of surgical devices and former manufacturer of surgical devices sold throughout the world that are still on the market after 30 years. I've sold the company, but my products are still being used. And so always interested in healing. And most of the work, as you know, Michael, that I do is energy medicine and medical intuitive stuff. I'm like a human MRI and help facilitate healings. So we wanted to know, where did that originated? And it originated on a star, not even a planet, in a galaxy far, far away, to your movie buff, mind there. And it's 500 billion light years away. And so I've always been interested in the medical components of things. And that's what drew me into learning woo woo. And that's how I teach people how to do all this stuff that I do. But what I found was, when we connect with spirit, we can do it all. So that's why I say I'm a buffet of psychicness, because we can talk to your dead grandma. I can scan your cat. I can scan you physically and help you heal your body. We can do past life stuff. We can tell how close to death somebody is. We can communicate with any spirit. And so, but it all originated in the medical stuff, which has been very precise throughout the ages. But what we're finding is that the work that I do and that my graduates do and other healers do, of, whether they're a shaman or whether they're a whatever, acupuncturist or whatever modality, it's all complementary. And Einstein said way back when that all medicine in the future will be revolving around frequency. It'll all be frequency medicine. And so, to answer your question, I think that's where the, just being concise on things comes from, is the medical stuff.
What's one thing Einstein has for all of us as a reminder?
Lighten up. Lighten up. Don't be concerned with your mistakes. Interestingly enough, that you just showed me that picture, because this morning I read a story about him that was he was in a classroom and he wrote, 1 times 10 is 10, 2 times 10 is 20, blah, 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 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. When he got to 9 times 10 is 91. And the class laughed. And he said, you know what? Nobody ever makes a mistake. It's all part of the learning curve. But you didn't notice when I got them right. You only noticed when I got it wrong. And so again, that's the theme that keeps coming through here with us is have fun. There are no mistakes. Life's an adventure. Go live it. Enjoy. Find the joy in every situation.
Notice what you can notice if you can notice something, when you remember to notice, if you remember to notice anything at all. Good luck with that. Twice a day, like a broken clock, or twice a month, it's still progress. Okay, I'm going to put up just random photos before we get to the good photo. And here I am judging photos of angels, but I'm just going to show Archangel Michael and Gabriel directly.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'm going to show 4 archangels. Michael and Gabriel are 2 of the rainbow pie slices. There's 3 more off camera, Zadkiel, Shamiel, and Jophiel. But Raphael, Uriel, Michael, and Gabriel here. Lock that in. Here's Harmony in her. I think she chose Tranquility, but she's very cosmic.
I gotta tell you about the multiple ones in the picture first.
Oh, do it.
What I heard when I saw that, they're talking to me, but I'm hearing in the background, oh, like they're singing in a choir of angels. I mean, it's like, what are you guys, like some kind of a singing group up there or something? But I heard that sound that sounded like the angelic, what you would, the angels and the seraphim and cherub. Okay, so the same thing, but it's louder and it's more intense.
And someone the other day, it might have been you, it might have been someone else, said that one's Metatron, actually.
Yeah.
The little
No,
one.
I'm hearing the music, but you think about it, what's music? Music is a
Oh,
frequency.
it's so weird that you're saying, because I got one more to put up and I have not said the background on this angel, but Charlotte, Michael, and this third angel are my business managers. So I'm putting up a Rebecca. She comes from so far out, like you said, galaxy wise, star system wise, that it's just beyond the whole Andromeda, Pleiades, all the usual suspects. She's sound
Yeah.
originally, where music was invented. And
Yeah.
if you don't mind having a private chat, you're going to keep that to yourself. And then
But look at her
something to share.
background. Michael,
Yeah.
look at her background. It looks like the foam in a soundproof booth.
Well, it's up close and it's Miami deck furniture, but not in Miami. It's that woven, really cool, stylish, modernistic
Yeah,
furniture.
but I have a recording studio and I have that soundproof foam. Mine's red, but that's what it looks like. That's the first thing that came into my head
Yeah.
was the soundproof foam, which is
And
interesting.
she's actually 4 balls of light in there, but the photo with too many screens is blocking it out. But I'll give you a sample of what I'm talking about. There's Charlotte with a little happy face in there and Min. And
Yeah.
now if you look closer, if I get it right, you can see the 4. It's 2 and 2 side by side.
Right. And they're
Okay.
merged. Yeah.
What's Rebecca have as a reminder for all of us how it's beyond words, beyond organization, beyond what you think it is, because it's not about thinking sort of stuff.
Use music to improve your mood.
Okay, now privately speaking, what's one of your biggest passions? Is it going to the opera? Is it traveling to Italy? Cooking? What do you do to have the most amount of fun that has nothing to do with work or business?
Garden, plant
Okay,
stuff,
but flowers or vegetables?
flowers,
Flowers.
flowers,
Okay. 2, 3, 1. What's one of your favorite flowers? African daisies, cosmos.
cosmos.
I said it before you said it. I'm a professional medium psychic type, but I try not to tell anybody anything. So I did good.
Yeah.
We'll show one cosmos here if I can pull it off. I don't know.
Well, cosmos, and where did my healing powers come from? A galaxy far, far away out in the cosmos. I just thought of that when I said cosmos. Yeah, yeah. I like the pink and wine and white ones. Yeah, those are my fave. And I love the foliage on them because we can put this huge vase of cosmos together, which I do in my home. And they're just glorious. They're vibrant, they're wispy, they have a mind. Exactly. Look at that foliage. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
I'm fast. Okay. Last few questions. Let's go to a professor who's got a background from Sirius. And I don't want to sound too serious, but in March of 2024, Angels have been doing this at like 14 years, but up until last year, so it would be spring of 2024, March or so, Charlotte, the blue ball light said, hey, I've got a background from Orion. And then Joy would be cosmic. This one's Sirius and a bunch of other Pleiades, Andromeda, Orion, blah, blah, blah. Here's something about Earth, how mankind has more awareness coming their way, higher vibration, and just you're super put together on all this. You barely blink or breathe. If you weren't breathing ever and we didn't know it, I'm just saying you're very professional about all this. You don't hesitate. Talk to us. What's this all about again, Alfie? To throw another movie reference your way.
And Backrack too. Yeah. By the way, all his dogs were called all Alfie. Do you love that? Like
No, and now we're
Alfie.
going way too full circle. This has got to be a lot of laughter from Angels right now because that was full, way too full circle.
Yeah, yeah. So that picture, who is that? Charlotte, that angel?
Men.
Min. That picture, every time you show that to me, it reminds me of the Sphinx
Mm-hmm.
in Egypt. And it reminds me of Egyptology. And what I get is that there's so much energy in everything.
She'll
Like
bring you ancient Egyptian incense in the air. She might have been Nefertiti bringing compassion to the Egyptians back then.
I've met her with you before. Yeah.
Catch that
But
incense coming in, have her just do a frequency transmission that you go, whoa. And now
okay.
there's an extra little mini download.
Yeah, that when we marvel at everything, like you think about men who reminds me looks like ancient Egypt, and those granules of the stone, each one has energy in it. Each molecule has energy in it. And when we think about they're all vibrating, and it's fascinating when you get down to that quantum level, but it's all about joy.
Okay, we're going to put up one last photo. It'll be Joy, but I'll remind people that they can check out an episode that's been out since the fall of 2024. It's the APL Spotlight series, and that's just for amazing guests like yourself. It's just a deep dive. We do a lot of fun stuff on it. That was October 8th of 2024. People can check you out there. We're going to be having you back as much as you can put up with us. Here's
Oh, I love
Joy.
it. I love it.
And I'm going to whoosh you Egypt. So whether you see a symbol or you're already getting it, it doesn't matter. But here comes Egypt from Charlotte, Min, Joy, and the whole crew. Catch a
Yeah.
little extra as if you're there and you're actually in one of those buildings with an amazing vortex dimensional something going on.
Okay.
And let something swirl around into words that you weren't expecting to talk about.
Well, that picture that you held up, the minute you held it up, I thought, well, the one of joy. I thought, well, that kind of looks like a cosmos flower in the cosmos. Look at the background, looks like cosmos. And so what I got was there's joy in every flower, in every grain of sand and salt and everything else. All we have to do is just open ourselves to it, because everywhere we go, yeah, those are clematis, they look like, or
Or
clematis.
morning glory.
Morning glory. Okay. Close. Similar family. Yeah. But what I got is that we're surrounded by joy in every molecule of everything that exists. And we just have to realize that. Once we realize that, what that's going to do is that's going to open us, and it's going to open our hearts to be able to receive joy. And what's joy? The basis is love. Everything's love and joy. And, it's all That's what it's all about. And when we feel overwhelmed or sad or angry or whatever, use the 2-minute rule. Is this going to kill me? No. And what happens is it opens our heart for the joy to come in. And then you showed me that morning glory. Can you hold that back up again, please? Okay. So look inside. What is it? It's light emanating from the flower. You look at that flower, it's beautiful. So it's joy, and what's emanating? Spirit, energy, love. It's all coming. That's a wonderful photograph, and no surprise there that you held that up next. Yeah.
Okay, here's a quote from Angels. And this is about that individual growth, just letting go, letting your soul's path kind of unfold. 6 sentences max. When no ego is present, your heart and soul shine through your eyes. You are love. You sparkle. You're one with all and at peace with all. You're whole and content. Listening is opening the line of communication available to each human. Merely be still and listen. Acknowledge and own the step. Move forward today. Just do it. This is a bit like a classic treasure hunt, but here you get to find yourself since you are the treasure. Do nothing, be, listen, learn, appreciate.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, wrap this up for us. How is kindness, compassion not trying? And you can do breath work for 10 years in India. You could do meditation in Palo Alto or Stanford or in Laguna Beach somewhere. But all points, doesn't every journey end up going back to that treasure map, the X that marks the spot? What's this all about again, without using the Alfie expression? How can people get going? Or are they already firmly on their path? They just don't know it.
That's the thing, is that when you use the 2-minute rule, it gets your vibration back up, and just pay attention to how you're feeling, because we're all a fractal of the divine, and we are here to have the human experience, and we're here to understand that when we feel bad, it's pointing out a limiting belief that's fake news, that's come in from a parent or a grandparent or a teacher or the media or whomever. I mean, my God, you're a PR exec. Look at the PR campaigns you did in your career in Manhattan, and you were what? You were putting a perspective. You were putting a spin on something that would help people be able to identify with it in a certain way. That's what we have the opportunity to do, because in the spirit world, Michael, you know this, there's no right or wrong, there's no good or bad, it's just an experience. So when somebody's going through something that's less than optimal, and we think, oh, I'm so sorry that you're having to go through that, and rightfully so, in heaven, our guides and our angels and our loved ones, spirits are all going, whoa, this is interesting. What's he going to create out of that? How's he going to get out of this situation? What good things are going to result? Because what I've been told a bazillion times from spirit is they don't create in heaven. That's why we incarnate on earth. That's where we create. And then our creations go into the collective consciousness where everybody can benefit from them. So, back to what we keep hearing is it's all perspective. It's all about feeling joy. Change your perspective. When you're cut off in traffic by somebody and your reaction is fight or flight, and you're thinking, oh, what a jerk, and you're getting all wound up and stuff, change your perspective. Maybe that guy's wife's in labor and he's rushing to the hospital so he can be there when his child is born. Make up a
When a person
story.
writes a mean comment on YouTube, I'm like, I don't know that their mother hasn't been diagnosed with stage 5, whatever, or 4,
Exactly.
and they're just taking it out on a random show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We don't know what their past lives have been. We don't know what they're currently going through in this lifetime. Send them compassion. You don't need to, have them in your orbit. Just send them love and see you. Bye. Good luck. I hope your wife does great in her labor. Make up a story.
Here's a quote for you. In the end, love is what shows us life in different colors. And I'm going to put up a construction paper background, but blue sky is number one. Your shut-off TV works, a black sweatshirt, and if you're really cocky and cool, anything works. Just look at your dog. You'll see light all over your dog, or the trees, or the flowers, or your kitchen table. Everything's got consciousness. This is this. I'll put up my fingers. You get a dad joke, and I'll do Bert and Ernie Sesame Street. See my light flowing between my fingers? I'll show you mine. You don't have to show yours. But Julie, ask the universe and angels to start to make extra light that you know is not my flow. Get a tulip, get a flower, get a angel, get people have gotten geometric patterns. Two people got phoenixes. You could get anything. It's just who knows. Here we go. Bert and Ernie,
Okay.
Sesame Street. Bert offers Ernie ice cream. What's Ernie say? Sure, Bert. If you're laughing, you're letting go. Okay, you'll see a little bit of light. What color
Yeah.
do you see between my fingers?
Purple.
Okay, and then if you don't mind, ask all your angels and galactic loving beings who help you out for a little extra and get either a little mini fireworks or something else, a chalice, who knows?
It's rings of various shades of purple, and they're very dark in the middle, Michael. And as you spread your fingers out, they lighten up. So they become like a watered down version of the purple that's in the middle. And as you expand out, then they're going to, a pastel lilac and lavender. And as you go in and out, it's like, you remember the slinky toy when you'd stretch it in and out and do that, but it looked more like vortices. So you came from the center that was very deep purple. And then as you rotated out, it was like these vortices were coming on both sides and they were getting more diluted.
Mhm.
So, what I get from that is that we are source. And as we spread love out, it gets diluted, but it still has power. So, those that are closest to us are going to feel our love the most. But people that we don't know, when they cut us off in traffic or whatever, we can send them positive vibes and it's going to still affect them, even though they're not a part of our daily lives.
And almost to wrap it up with an Einstein quote, we're still going to have you, as you're a show host, and people should check out your show. But I'll have a quote from Einstein right here. Our task must be to free ourselves by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature and its beauty, which I think is what you just said.
Yeah.
Last bit, if you don't mind doing a non-linear response here, you're not allowed to make a sentence if it's okay, but wonderful adjectives work. I'm going to double whoosh you like a goose and blow into my microphone down here, preferably Hawaii on your nose and elsewhere. Let us know what you get, and then you're closing out the shows if it's your show. It has been your show. I love this. I love having you on. Thank you. Aloha and mahalo. Here we go. And what do you get in a non-linear way? How would you describe it?
So it was because obviously I'm very visual. You were blowing sand on me that felt like little angel whispers, but they were sparkly. You blow sand on somebody, depending on the wind, it can hurt. This was like, ooh, this feels really fabulous. And it was soft and wispy and went through my body, and then my body lit up like the sparkles of the sand that you blew into it.
And you get to come back anytime you wish. Okay, we'll talk to you about that after the show. Close us out. What's a reminder? Hey, everyone knows their reality. My situation is, my drama is, my problem is, you don't understand my situation. I got 13 dogs, 16 kids, and I've done 5 divorces in 5 weeks. Yes, Guinness Book of World Records, and I'm stuck. But with all that, what do we do with this thing called life? And we're, walking our path.
Yeah, pay attention to how it feels. If it feels good, you're on the path. If it feels bad, you're in the weeds, and there's alligators and snakes and pterodactyls and all kinds of stuff in there that, the more you see one and you're like, oh my God, get me out of here. Because we go into fight or flight. So remember, when you're on the path, you're being led, take action. Something feels neutral or good. If you're in the weeds and all those critters are coming after you, know that you got to get back on the path, because your brain's going to continue to create things that feel badly. And remember, thoughts create our reality. So we're creating it as we go. Use the 2-minute rule. Is this going to kill me in the next 2 minutes? Nope. Get back. You're back on the path. And
And
the beauty with the 2-minute rule too, Michael, and this is the key to everything. When this came in from Spirit, I was like, oh man, this is a game changer. The key is it's free, It works in any situation, and it's convenient because it works anywhere your brain is, and your brain's usually with you wherever you are. 2-minute rule. Yeah.
Julie Ryan coming to us from Alabama, amazing medical intuitive psychic, former and current business person, put together and barely a blink of the eye before the response is coming. So imagine what she's like when you look her up on her website or check her show out, and how fast. If it's a Western, she's one of the fastest draws around.
May
Thank
I give a gift to all of your listeners and
Sure.
watchers?
Sure.
Okay. Angelic Attendance, you got that book. Please hold it up. Angelic Attendance, what really happens as we transition from this life into the next. If you'd like a free copy of it, just go to julieryangift.com, julieryangift.com, and we'll send you a free digital and audio book download. And it's going to affect us at some point. We're going to lose somebody we love, and eventually we're going to transition too. So, talks about how we're surrounded by angels and the spirits of deceased loved ones and pets. And it's really just an amazing experience for people, and brings a lot of comfort to people.
You mentioned animals. We're closing out with one final quote: dolphin consciousness for all of us, a reminder to stay the course and trust in the bigger picture here. Here's a dolphin for you representing dolphin consciousness. What are you getting?
Yeah. Flipper. Flipper. Yeah, I can hear the music from the TV show when I was a kid. And what did Flipper exhibit? Joy. It's all about joy.
Julie Ryan, Angels, Positivity, and Love. Great to have you back. Thank you, everybody. Please like, subscribe, comment, put an emoji in the comments. It helps other people see this show and get access to Julie as well as other amazing guests who are from all over the globe. We really appreciate you being here as a guest, and also we really appreciate the audience tuning in. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Bye, everybody. Mwah.